Movie directors. They're the most important part of a film because without them, we wouldn't have anyone to blame if the movie is bad. Ever since the beginning of the medium, movie directors have functioned as the heart and soul of a film's production, as they are the people we can comfortably recognize as the ones who do all the work. Some directors make movies to better understand the human condition, others to fine-tune a sharp political point, and others to jerk off film students, but all directors bring to the table a unique vision and interpretation of a story to be digested by hungry eyes and ears and tummies. While most directors have an extensive filmography capable of standing the test of time, New York filmmaker Sidney Lumet proved not to be up to task after delivering over 40 movies completely out of step with human behavior. Thankfully, Hollywood has buried his name, so we never have to hear about him. Lumet, who started out as a theater director because he couldn't help but be born pretentious, eventually moved to television so he could pay his bills and finally debuted on film with 12 Angry Men, a movie based on a play about how a justice system operating on subtle racist ideologies proves to be ineffectual, unlawful, and antithetical to the nature of fairness. Unfortunately for Lumet, racism was solved 5 years later by Martin Luther King Jr., rendering 12 Angry Men null and void. Lumet would go on to other failed attempts at the study of maneuvering the depravity of mankind with The Pawnbroker, the first mainstream American movie dealing with the effects of the Holocaust through the eyes of a survivor, and Serpico, a movie too unbelievable in its premise as it painted the New York Police Department as a congregation of corrupt, abusive, and racist men driven by unregulated opportunism. Both films were pitied by the Academy and were given nominations so long as Lumet promised to make movies that people could just ignore. Lumet refused to heed this advice, and throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 21st century, churned out pointless movie after pointless movie. In 1975, he created Dog Day Afternoon, a gay film only sort of about gayness because it was too interested in creating a story with fully fleshed out characters reacting to the rigid socioeconomical landscape prejudiced against the LGBT community. In 1976, he teamed up with unknown two-time Academy Award-winning screenwriter Patty Chayefsky to craft an overly preachy movie about how the news can be manipulative and how television exploits our innermost despicable desires to make an easy buck. In 1978, he made the mistake of thinking black people were more talented than white people, and he made The Wiz. He continued creating movies about police corruption, religious corruption, and political corruption as though those were things people needed to worry about. Finally, Lumet went too far. His 1989 picture Q&A opened with a scene far too fictional to be believed. In its opening moments, a police officer played by Nick Nolte shoots an unarmed man for personal gain. The film then follows a young lawyer trying to get to the bottom of a police corruption case, while the cops repeatedly refuse to be honest about some of the not nice things they did. While the film is a conceptual nightmare and complete failure, it does boast arguably the greatest soundtrack of the 80s.
Don't double-cross the ones you love.
Throughout his career, Lumet made movies starring women for some reason, old washed-up actors for some reason, and boring movies about family. He was most notably known for working with actors that could greatly compensate for his talent. People like Marlon Brando, Paul Newman, Henry Fonda, Jeff Bridges, Katharine Hepburn, Joanne Woodward, Charlotte Rampling, Diana Ross, Christopher Walken, Michael Jackson, Raul Julia, James Mason, Sean Connery, Philip Seymour Hoffman, James Spader, Peter Dinklage, James Gandolfini, Helen Mirren, Albert Brooks, Dustin Hoffman, Ethan Hawke, Albert Finney, Marissa Tomei, Michael Shannon, Anna Magnani, Jessica Walter, John Cazale, Al Pacino, Denzel Washington, Gene Hackman, Michael Caine, Christopher Reeve, Julie Christie, Faye Dunaway, William Holden, Peter Finch, Robert Duvall, Lauren Bacall, Ingrid Bergman, Anthony Perkins, Vanessa Redgrave, Glenn Close, Maggie Gyllenhaal, and Vin Diesel. In an attempt to put a stop to Lumet's reign of terror and mistreatment of actors, he was offered an honorary Academy Award in 2005, though he would go on to make his final movie Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, just to torture us one last time. Thankfully, he is now dead, with no legacy to remember him by. As is deserved. I hope you enjoyed this essay about Sidney Lumet. Who cares, right? Sidney.